Hey folks, let's see if I can break one of my favorite knives. This is a heavily modified Enlan EL-01. Seen these many times in my videos. Gonna do some batoning with it. Now, some folks say batoning's a stupid thing to do with your knife. A lot of folks say it's a very stupid thing to do with a folder. This isn't something I really recommend, but I'm curious about how tough this knife is. And figured since I was going to find out for myself, I'd share it with you folks. So let's get to work here. These bits are too small to show anything. We got. Okay, there's this piece. It's not very big, but there's some big old knots in here. This probably wouldn't split cleanly. Certainly wouldn't split cleanly even with an axe, but let's start on through and see what we get. And I'm doing this with the knife open and the blade locked. Still centered. Got to show that at the beginning. No up and down play. A little bit of side to side, but let's see. Yeah, this screw's not Loctited on this particular knife. Sometimes it comes a little loose. I haven't tightened it down all the way. But actually, let's do that now. There we go, no side to side. And we'll check back on that after a little more batoning. Went through the side of that knot pretty well. Let's try like this. This might be stupid, but makes for a more entertaining video if something goes wrong, right? Okay. I don't think it's gonna cut well. See, that's just not gonna work without tons of pounding because of the very hard wood. Can't talk. Very hard wood at the knot, and the curve of the grain. It's like twisting it to the side, and it's kind of stopped as it hit the heartwood there. That's just not going anywhere. Let's just try another long split. Still rock solid. Okay. Now this small log here is too big to split across the middle. Let's see if we can take some chunks off it. There's a good spot to start. That might work. See, we're going to run into problems with this here too, because see the way the grain in the wood's waved? If I can get it a little farther in, it might just pop because all the stress is in there, but this might not have been the best spot to pick, just because there's there's not much blade sticking out the other side for me to wail on. See, again, that probably wasn't the smartest spot to pick because of that huge old knot. Let's see if there's another thin enough area where I can actually get something done for you guys. This could be a very stupid idea. I can feel the handle flexing. Not sure where to grab this thing to make it. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to get this done in one take. Just show everything that happened, show my mistakes, but camera battery died. But I'll just take a minute to say again, I know what I'm doing here is stupid. And I know that even for batoning with a small knife or a folder, I'm not doing it right. I'm picking really terrible spots to place the knife. And basically, that's intentional. I'm trying to stress it out as much as possible. Why I'm talking like this? I probably have the camera on my face, but whatever. So, this is just as it was before the camera cut out. Still too much wood fiber connected, not enough leverage to pop it off that way. So let's pull this thing out. I feel like King Arthur. The knife in the log. Let's see if we destroy this thing. Well, not surprisingly, from all that wiggling and side bending, pivot's loosened up again. And where's the center? Here's where the lock bar is. Much farther over. That tends to happen on liner and frame locks when you pound on them. See if it'll go back when we release it. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, we have some play. This absolute blatant abuse of the knife has resulted in messing it up a little bit. The lock bar's way over, but it basically can't gut over far enough to give good vertical lockup anymore. Oh well. But let's see about that side play. It's okay. It's not centered anymore. I bet it was pounding it in butt first that really messed it up. That must put massive pressure on the lock bar. Okay. Okay, my attempt at one-take filmmaking just experienced another fail. memory card was full. I can't even remember what I was doing with this thing last. Oh yeah, we basically learned that this thing's pretty strong against side-to-side prying, but unsurprisingly, for a liner lock or frame lock type folder, batoning, especially driving it straight in like a nail, does massively accelerated wear on the lock bar face. But interestingly, I will point out that even though there's now vertical play, the lock has not failed. It's just gotten really sloppy. Well, fairly sloppy. Actually, let's try a spine whack. Let's see. I hold it like this and it starts to close. The finger guard's gonna hit leather glove and stop it, hopefully. Don't try this at home, kids. Okay. It's not holding back on that at all. Extreme abuse of the knife. And it's just like it was right before I did that. Okay, let's see if we can get any more splitting done. Another absurdly abusive technique. I think that kind of speaks for itself. No worse off than what we've already done to it. See if there's another spot on this log that's actually narrow enough we have a hope of doing anything. See, where's that knot end? I actually kind of want this split here because I want this wood for something. So let's see if I can do it. Again, we're going to go not full length. And we're going to beat the handle like a redheaded stepchild. Not quite on the handle. That would almost certainly make the lock fail. Actually, would it? I don't know. Let's find out. It's just going to rotate. Hey guys, so I was doing a post-mortem on the damage I did to this knife while batoning it, and I actually discovered that the damage was not as bad as I thought. So, just a quick recap to show you where we were at after batoning the thing straight down into a log, is we have lock rock. What that is when the liner or frame lock or liner lock, you know, a lock of this type, is still engaged, but there's play. There's vertical play. You can actually hear it clicking, probably. And that's because, for whatever reason, the lock bar isn't really making solid contact with the blade tang. And in fact, I can probably go push it farther towards engagement. It'll just spring back out. It's going towards the natural place the spring steel has it set, which is kind of middle. And if I try to push it over, it just comes on back because there's no friction. There's no friction there. Now, even with that damage, especially considering the price of the knife, I was willing to call that pretty darn good performance. Because here's the thing, I have reviewed some high-end knives that have gotten lock rock. I'm speaking specifically of the DPX Hest folder, which got lock rock just from opening and closing the thing. Never mind doing stuff like spine wax that you saw this stand up to. Now, I was prepared to be pretty happy with that, but as I was checking it over, I decided to check the screws, and then something occurred to me. Maybe the bulk of that damage wasn't accelerated wear on the lock bar. Maybe it had peened the stop pin flat. I discovered it had. It had very slightly flattened the part of the stop pin that the blade hits. So, I can loosen this bolt on the side, and then turn this one to turn the stop pin, and get it to a properly rounded side. Tighten this back up. This driver's given up the ghost. Need to get a new T6 one. It's wearing out on the end. Anyway, see if we have lockup. It's solid again. Isn't that cool? Now, it is locking up with the bar a little farther over than it was at the beginning. I'd have to go check the tape, but I think when we started off, we were probably about here. After all the pounding, we're now right in the middle. But that is still much better than I had originally thought. Bringing the lasting damage to this knife from that much literal pounding to almost none. So I'm really, really pleased by that. And it does give me an idea for the upgrades and mods I do on these for people. I'm thinking of trying to find a higher quality hardened steel stop pin, which I could probably do. And if I put one of those in there, it would probably extend the life of the knife for hard use. Although the standard stop pin that's already in there, as you saw, you know, it's not perfect if you really massively abuse the knife, but it held up pretty well, considering what it was put through, I think. Okay guys, let's do a quick recap. What I put this knife through, I think every folder manufacturer on the planet would classify as gross abuse, and it's not something I really encourage. But I think I've proven the point that this knife is plenty tough. Because, after all that, took it down to the shop, and basically doing little more than just tightening the screws, it's back to pretty much where it was. The lock bar's a little farther over than when we started all this, and that's really the only thing. It's even back to perfectly centered now that all the screws are tightened evenly again. Or maybe not 100% perfect, like 98% perfect maybe. Very close. Flipper works good. It's all very nice. Now, this knife is modified, as you'll see. Here's a stock one down on the bottom. And besides the visible stuff, like the Emerson-style wave opener, the finger choil, and the serrations, and the fact that this knife has had an acid bath on the blade, which left it with a sort of grayed appearance. Some of the important things for longevity and hard use are the fact that this funky pivot screw has had a screwdriver slot ground into it, so you can adjust the pivot in the field. And inside, the kind of crappy washers these come with from the factory, which will get you through EDC, but they're kind of iffy. They've been replaced with high-quality phosphor bronze. So, if you guys are interested in picking up one of these knives, particularly one with some or any of these modifications, you can check out my website, lazylizardgear.com. And I thank you very much for watching and for all your support. And remember where your knife is.